Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ringside Cinema. I am Money Mike, and are we going to see the end of AJ Styles at the 2026 Royal Rumble? Last night on Raw, AJ Styles said he wanted one more match with Gunther after the controversial finish to the match last week on Raw, where Gunther actually did tap out, but the referee did not see it, and AJ wanted another match. But Gunther said that he would give him another match at the Royal Rumble, but only if he put his career on the line. So, are we getting ready to say goodbye to AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble? Just a month after we just lost John Cena to retirement? Absolutely not. At least I don't think so. I don't think we're going to lose AJ Styles this quickly, but I do think it's interesting that it's been reported previously that AJ Styles' contract is up in February of 2026, and the Royal Rumble is January 31st. So AJ Styles has said he would like to extend that contract to WrestleMania, and I do believe that if there is someone worthy of a WrestleMania retirement, it is AJ Styles, and I would prefer that over, say, a Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, Georgia, or in Nashville if you want to pay homage to TNA. But again, it's one of those things where it really makes you wonder when you think about the fact that the reports were all saying before his contract was up in February 2026, the Rumble is January 31st. It does really start to add up that we could be seeing the end of AJ Styles on January 31st. I almost said February 31st, which doesn't even exist. But January 31st could be the end of AJ Styles' career. So if you add all that up together, it does really feel like we're going to see the end of AJ Styles come next Saturday. It really does. You add up all the reports of his contract being expired and all that other stuff, it does seem to add up that he might be retiring as of January 31st. Now, I don't think that's the case. I personally don't. I think there's definitely going to be some kind of, like, you know, finish, like a disqualification where maybe AJ Styles wins by disqualification and his career continues. And then maybe Gunther eliminates him in the Royal Rumble, or AJ gets another one up on Gunther by eliminating Gunther in the Royal Rumble, which could potentially set up a showdown in a final match between the two at WrestleMania if AJ Styles does have his contract extended to WrestleMania 42. And I think, too, if AJ Styles was planning on retiring, I don't think WWE would have him retire and have his last match be in Saudi Arabia. You know, we see Goldberg, he got the treatment of Atlanta, Georgia. AJ Styles, also from Georgia. So it's one of those things where I could see, as I did in my predictions video, Atlanta, Georgia, Saturday night's main event as a potential retirement for AJ Styles later in the year, obviously. So now, where do I think this leads to, right? Because if AJ is not retiring yet, then are we going to get one more match with Gunther, say at WrestleMania? Do they stretch this out until WrestleMania? Or is this going to be the final match between the two, where, again, as I said, it's a disqualification finish? AJ wins, he gets to keep his career, but they revisit this, say, in the summertime, where maybe they have different opponents for WrestleMania planned. So, like I said, Gunther, Brock Lesnar, maybe. I talked about Cody Rhodes WrestleMania plans yesterday, and I did mention Gunther as a potential opponent for Cody Rhodes, as Cody Rhodes being the next guy to take offense to Gunther retiring John Cena, and Cody potentially having a match with Gunther away from the world title scene. And given the fact that AJ Styles has already made Gunther tap out, even though the referee did not see it, and the fact that Gunther's whole thing right now is I made John Cena tap out, it does make me wonder if we're going to see this prolonged to where we're going to see a submission match between these two. Like the final AJ Gunther match is a submission match where the loser taps out, right? Because AJ Styles says Gunther's tapped out. We actually saw Gunther tap out on the replay. But Gunther would then want to get his revenge by making AJ Styles tap out. So I could realistically see this being a submission match where the final match between these two is going to be a submission match. So that does lead me to believe that yes, AJ Styles is not going to retire after the Royal Rumble, because I do think both AJ and Gunther will also be in the Royal Rumble. And it's one of those things where AJ can eliminate Gunther, Gunther can eliminate AJ Styles, and that could set up something for WrestleMania down the line where maybe we do get that submission match between the two and we do get AJ Styles retiring at WrestleMania 42 a little bit later on in the year. Now, the other thing here to note is what do you do with these two if the plan isn't to end this feud at the Royal Rumble? What do you do with these two afterwards? What do you do with these two, say, going to WrestleMania? Because obviously for Gunther, if the plan is to maybe revisit this later, where we're looking at maybe Gunther, AJ Styles in the summer, Saturday night's main event in Atlanta, Nashville, wherever, and we're looking at this going, okay, this is going to be later on in the year. We'll revisit this later on in the year. But what do you do with it in WrestleMania? So I do think it would be very interesting to see where if the WWE does hold off, where again we do get a finish of AJ and Gunther, where AJ wins by disqualification, it protects Gunther, and then we revisit this later on in the year. So that does lead a lot of questions. 2016 Royal Rumble. We are just a few days away. January 24th, 2016 was the WWE debut of AJ Styles in the 2016 Royal Rumble. So, in a way, him retiring 10 years to the event that he made his WWE debut on at the 2026 Royal Rumble does seem kind of poetic. But at the same time, if that was the plan, I think WWE would probably have put this show in Atlanta, Georgia at the Falcon Stadium. They were at the Indianapolis Colts Stadium last year for the Royal Rumble. So I would imagine if that was the case for this year, of AJ retiring 10 years, at the Royal Rumble, 10 years to the day, to the event, or 10 years after he made his debut in the 2016 Royal Rumble, the WWE would have better planned this to, even if it wasn't in Atlanta, Georgia, but like even like in like Nashville, um, as again pay homage to his TNA roots, or somewhere in North America or in the United States, so that AJ gets a proper retirement. The fans can celebrate, appreciate him, whatever. So I do feel like that would be the case. And if you add in the fact that this is taking place at the Royal Rumble, where there's already so much going on, you have two Royal Rumbles, you have Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship against someone who we'll find out at Saturday night's main event, most likely Sami Zayn. But there's so much going on that AJ retiring at the Royal Rumble would get overshadowed because we're going to be sitting here talking about who won the men's Rumble, who won the women's Rumble, who are they going to face at WrestleMania. So to me, this screams AJ Styles winning by disqualification to keep his career going, and then maybe we'll revisit this a lot later down the line, maybe in the summertime. But yeah, again, it does make you really wonder because of the reports of AJ Styles' contract potentially being up in February of 2026. Now, maybe the Elimination Chamber, sure, maybe that's another spot. I mean, Chicago is a very, very good wrestling city, wrestling town. That would be a good place for AJ to say his goodbyes, have his final match. So you could do another match with Gunther there. But again, just like the Royal Rumble, we're going to have two Elimination Chamber matches that are setting up WrestleMania. So again, it's going to be overshadowed. So are we looking at AJ and Gunther at WrestleMania? Are we looking at Gunther and AJ having different WrestleMania opponents and then revisiting this down the line? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But when you add in all the reports about AJ's contract being up in February of 2026 and the Royal Rumble happening January 31st, it does concern you as a fan that we might just see AJ Styles' last match in the WWE at the Royal Rumble next Saturday. Comment below, how do you guys think the finish of AJ and Gunther is going to go at the Royal Rumble? Do you think this will be the end of AJ Styles' career? Will he maybe potentially go to WrestleMania? Will he wrestle beyond WrestleMania for the WWE? Drop your comments below. And as always, I've been your host, Money Mike, and you've been watching Ringside Cinema.